Do you remember that sound, that digital scream of a modem connecting to the internet? For those of us who lived through it, that wasn't just noise, that was the sound of possibility. That was the sound of the future arriving through a phone line. And when that sound finally stopped, when the connection was made, there was one place everyone went first: Yahoo. Not Google, not Facebook, not anything else you're thinking of right now. Yahoo. That purple and red logo, that cluttered homepage packed with links, news, weather, and stocks, that exclamation mark that felt optimistic, like the internet itself was shouting with excitement. For a brief, shining moment in the late 1990s, Yahoo wasn't just a website, it was the website. It was the front door to the entire internet. It was how grandmothers sent their first email. It was how teenagers found their first chat rooms. It was how the world learned to be online. At its peak in the year 2000, Yahoo was worth $125 billion. Let me say that again so it sinks in. $125 billion. That made it more valuable than Disney, more valuable than Boeing. It was one of the most valuable companies on planet Earth. Today, Yahoo is a digital graveyard, a forgotten relic, a punchline in business school case studies about failure. But here's the truly devastating part. This isn't a story about a company that got unlucky or that was disrupted by some technology they couldn't have seen coming. No, this is a story about a company that had every opportunity to win. They saw the future coming multiple times, and every single time they said no. This is the story of the biggest series of missed opportunities in Silicon Valley history. This is the story of how Yahoo went from being the king of the internet to a cautionary tale about what happens when you can't decide what you want to be. Let's go back to 1994, Stanford University, a small trailer on campus. Two graduate students are supposed to be working on their PhDs in electrical engineering, but they're not. They're procrastinating hard. Jerry Yang and David Philo are doing what millions of students do when they're avoiding work. They're browsing the internet. But in 1994, browsing the internet was like trying to navigate a library where all the books were thrown on the floor and there was no card catalog. The internet existed, but it was chaos. There was no organization, no way to find anything. If you wanted to visit a website, you had to know the exact address or you'd never find it. So Jerry and David started keeping a list, just for themselves at first, a list of cool websites they found organized by category. Science websites here, music websites there, news over here. It was simple, it was helpful. And then other people started using their list, a lot of other people. They called it Jerry and David's Guide to the World Wide Web, which, let's be honest, is a terrible name, so they changed it to something catchier: Yahoo. What did Yahoo stand for? Officially, it was yet another hierarchically organized oracle, but really, Jerry and David just thought it sounded fun. Yahoo, like a cowboy yell, like excitement, like the sound you make when you discover something amazing. And people were discovering it. By early 1995, their little list was getting 1 million hits a day. The university servers couldn't handle the traffic. They had to move off campus. They dropped out of their PhDs. They got funding. They hired engineers. And suddenly, Jerry Yang and David Philo weren't just two guys with a list anymore. They were the gatekeepers of the internet. The late 90s was a wild time. The dot-com boom was in full swing, and everyone, I mean everyone, was trying to get rich off the internet. Companies were going public with no revenue, no business plan, just a website and a dream. Stock prices were doubling overnight. 25-year-olds were becoming millionaires. It was madness. It was euphoria. It was a bubble, but nobody cared because the party was too good. And Yahoo? Yahoo was the center of that party. They went public in 1996. Their stock price exploded. By 1998, Yahoo was a household name, not just in America, around the world. If you were online, you were on Yahoo. Yahoo Mail, Yahoo Messenger, Yahoo Groups, Yahoo Finance, Yahoo News, Yahoo Games. You could spend your entire day in the Yahoo universe and never leave. They weren't just a search engine anymore. They were a portal, a one-stop shop for everything you needed online. Weather? Yahoo. Sports scores? Yahoo. Stock quotes? Yahoo. Looking for a date? Yahoo Personals. Trying to buy something? Yahoo Shopping. They had 500 million users. That was half the internet. Half. Advertisers were throwing money at them. Everyone wanted to be on the Yahoo homepage because that's where the eyeballs were. A single banner ad on Yahoo's front page could cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. At the peak of the bubble in January 2000, Yahoo's market cap hit $125 billion. Jerry Yang, the guy who'd been living in a trailer just 6 years earlier, was a billionaire many times over. He was on magazine covers, he was a celebrity. He was living proof that the American dream was alive and well, and it was being coded in Silicon Valley. But here's the thing about bubbles. They pop. In 1998, 2 more Stanford students came knocking on Yahoo's door. Their names were Larry Page and Sergey Brin. They had built something in their dorm room, a new kind of search engine. They called it Backrub at first, yes, seriously, but then changed it to Google. And this thing, it was good, really good. See, Yahoo search was basically just their organized directory. If you searched for pizza, Yahoo would show you all the websites they'd manually categorized under pizza. It worked, but it was limited. Google was different. Google had this algorithm, PageRank they called it, that actually understood which websites were important based on how many other websites linked to them. It was smarter, faster, more accurate. Larry and Sergey knew they had something special, but they were students. They didn't want to run a company. They wanted to finish their degrees and maybe license their technology to someone else. So they went to Yahoo. They offered to sell Google to Yahoo for $1 million. $1 million for Google, the company that would go on to be worth over $1 trillion. And Yahoo said no. Why? Because Yahoo's executives looked at Google and thought, we already have search. We're a portal. We do everything. Why would we pay $1 million for just search? They didn't see search as the future. They saw it as a commodity, a checkbox feature, something you had because you needed it, not because it was important. Larry and Sergey left the meeting and they decided, fine, we'll build the company ourselves. Within 2 years, Google was better than Yahoo at the one thing that mattered most on the internet, helping people find what they were looking for. But okay, that was 1998. Yahoo was still huge, still growing. They could survive missing out on Google, right? Let's jump forward to 2008. By now, the dot-com bubble had burst. Thousands of internet companies went bankrupt, but Yahoo survived. They were bruised, but still standing, still one of the biggest websites in the world. But things were different now. Google wasn't just better at search, they were dominating. Google had become the verb, just Google it. Yahoo was still getting traffic, but they were losing the war for attention. And then, in February 2008, something shocking happened. Microsoft, yes, Microsoft, offered to buy Yahoo for $44.6 billion. That's billion, with a B. Now, at this point, Yahoo's board had a choice to make. Microsoft was offering a massive premium. Their stock was trading around $19 a share, and Microsoft was offering $31. That's a 62% premium. Any rational investor would tell you, take the money. This is an incredible deal. But Yahoo's leadership, led by Jerry Yang, who was now CEO, said no. Why? Pride, vision, belief that they were worth more. Jerry Yang thought Yahoo was worth $50 a share. He thought Microsoft was lowballing them. He thought if they just held out, if they kept building, they could get back on top. Microsoft came back with a better offer. Yahoo said no again. Microsoft walked away. Here's what happened next. Yahoo's stock price collapsed. Within months, it was trading below $10 a share. That $44 billion offer, it evaporated. Shareholders were furious. Jerry Yang was forced to resign as CEO. Yahoo would never receive another offer anywhere close to that amount. Years later, in 2017, Yahoo's core business, what was left of it, was sold to Verizon for $4.4 billion. Read that again, $44 billion to $4 billion. They lost $40 billion of value by saying no. But wait, there's more. Let's rewind to 2006, between the Google mistake and the Microsoft mistake. A 22-year-old kid named Mark Zuckerberg had built this website called The Facebook. It started at Harvard, then spread to other colleges, and now it was open to everyone, and it was growing fast. Mark Zuckerberg came to Yahoo with an offer. He was willing to sell Facebook for $1 billion. Now, I know what you're thinking. $1 billion for a social network full of college kids posting Trump photos? That sounds crazy. And Yahoo's executives thought so too. They countered with a lower offer, something around $850 million. Facebook said no to that. Negotiations fell apart. Today, Meta, is worth over $800 billion. So let's do the math here, shall we? Yahoo said no to Google for $1 million. Google is now worth over $1.5 trillion. Yahoo said no to Microsoft's $44 billion. That value vanished. Yahoo said no to Facebook at the right price. Facebook is now worth $800 billion. Are you starting to see a pattern here? Here's the real problem, the deeper problem. Yahoo didn't know what it wanted to be. Google knew. Google wanted to organize the world's information. Clean, simple, focused. Facebook knew. Facebook wanted to connect people. Everything they did served that mission. Amazon knew. Amazon wanted to sell you everything. One click. Easy. But Yahoo? Yahoo tried to be everything to everyone. A search engine, a news site, a social network, an email provider, a content creator, a video platform, a shopping site, a finance terminal. They bought Flickr, the best photo sharing site on the internet, then basically ignored it and let Instagram eat their lunch. They bought Tumblr for $1.1 billion, then banned adult content, which was half the reason people used Tumblr. The value collapsed. They kept redesigning their homepage, trying to figure out what users wanted, but every redesign just made it more cluttered, more confusing. CEOs came and went. In the span of just a few years, Yahoo had 6 different CEOs. 6. Each one had a different vision. Each one tried to fix Yahoo. None of them succeeded. There was this joke in Silicon Valley. What does Yahoo do? And nobody had a good answer anymore. They had the traffic, they had the brand recognition, they had the money, but they didn't have focus. They didn't have a clear reason to exist. And on the internet, if people can't explain why you matter in one sentence, you don't matter. In 2013, something happened that Yahoo managed to keep secret for 3 years. They got hacked. Not just hacked, absolutely devastated. Every single Yahoo account, all 3 billion of them, was compromised. Names, email addresses, passwords, security questions, dates of birth, everything. This wasn't just one of the biggest hacks in history, it was the biggest hack in history. And Yahoo didn't tell anyone. Not the users, not the public, not even the companies trying to buy them. They stayed quiet for years, hoping nobody would find out. In 2016, when they were in the middle of negotiations to sell to Verizon, the news leaked. 3 billion accounts, hacked. Yahoo had known for years and said nothing. The trust was gone, the credibility was gone. Verizon renegotiated the deal down by $350 million because of the hack. In June 2017, it was over. Verizon completed the purchase of Yahoo for $4.4 billion. Remember, this is a company that was once worth $125 billion. They sold for pocket change. Jerry Yang, the guy who'd started it all in that Stanford trailer, released a statement. It was short, bittersweet. He thanked the employees, the users, the partners, but you could read between the lines. This wasn't supposed to be how the story ended. Verizon merged Yahoo with AOL, another fallen giant from the internet's early days, and created a division called Oath, because apparently that sounded better than 2 dead brands together. Later, they rebranded again to Verizon Media. In 2021, Verizon sold Yahoo again, this time to a private equity firm called Apollo Global Management, for $5 billion. At that point, it didn't even make the front page of the news. Yahoo had become so irrelevant that its sale was just a footnote. So what's left of Yahoo today? Technically, it still exists. Yahoo Finance is still pretty good. Yahoo Mail still has users, mostly people who created their email address in 1998 and never bothered to change it. If you go to yahoo.com right now, it's still there. The homepage is still cluttered with news and links, but it feels like a museum, a digital artifact from another era. The exclamation point is gone from the logo now. Even Yahoo's punctuation lost its enthusiasm. The office buildings in Sunnyvale, California, where Yahoo's headquarters used to be, they're quiet now. Some have been sold off, some have been repurposed. The energy, the optimism, the sense of possibility, it's all gone. And Jerry Yang? He's still around, still investing in startups, still worth over $2 billion from his Yahoo stock in the early days. But you have to imagine, late at night when he's alone with his thoughts, he must think about those meetings. The one with Larry and Sergey, the one with Mark Zuckerberg, the one with Microsoft. What if he'd said yes? So what's the lesson here? Because this isn't just a story about Yahoo. It's a story about human nature, about businesses, about life. Here's what I think we can learn. First, saying no to the future doesn't make it go away. Yahoo said no to Google. Google didn't disappear. They became the future anyway. Yahoo said no to Facebook. Facebook became the future anyway. You can ignore change, you can deny it, you can resist it, but it's coming whether you like it or not. Second, know what you are. Yahoo's biggest problem wasn't that they made bad products, it's that they never figured out their identity. They were too busy trying to be everything that they forgot to be the best at anything. Focus isn't about doing less because you can't do more. Focus is about doing less because being great at one thing matters more than being mediocre at 10 things. And third, pride is expensive. Jerry Yang genuinely believed Yahoo was worth more than Microsoft's offer. Maybe he was right on paper, but markets don't care about what you think you're worth. They care about what someone's willing to pay. Sometimes taking the deal isn't giving up, it's being smart enough to know when you've won. And finally, the internet doesn't owe you anything. Yahoo thought they'd earned their place at the top. They thought users would stay loyal because they'd been there first. But the internet has no memory, no loyalty, no sentiment. The moment something better comes along, everyone moves, and they don't look back. I still remember the first time I used Yahoo. I was 12 years old, sitting at a bulky desktop computer in my school's computer lab. The modem screeched, the Yahoo homepage loaded one colorful block at a time, and I thought, this is incredible. I can find anything, I can talk to anyone. The whole world is right here. That feeling, that sense of wonder, that was real. Yahoo gave that to millions of people. They were the bridge that helped an entire generation cross over from the old world into the digital one. That matters. That legacy is real, even if the company isn't. But history doesn't remember intentions. It doesn't remember effort. It remembers results. And the result is this. Yahoo had every chance to own the internet, and they said no.